Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for September 20th through 26th. This week I read 4 books, I watched 5 shows, I watched 4 movies, and I listened to 1 book. First this week I read a short story collection called Monstrosity. There were 12 short stories in this, so it's pretty difficult to talk about it overall because obviously it's 12 little things to talk about. However, what I can say is every story was very distinct and unique, and all of them were nice and creepy, which I obviously appreciated. If you are looking for a creepy anthology to read this spooky season, I highly suggest this one. This week I also read Kim Reaper, Grim Beginnings. This is about this girl that has a crush on another girl in one of her university courses, so she decides she's going to ask her out, so she follows her down the hallway after class, and her crush disappears into this portal, and then she gets sucked into this portal, and it goes from there. You find out pretty quickly, as you might have been able to figure out from the title of this book, that Kim is actually a Grim Reaper in training. This was sapphic and witchy and just a good time. As my last read for Demonathon, I finished Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This is the first in what is going to be a series, although I don't think any of the rest of the series is out yet. I enjoyed this. I did not know going into it that it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I just knew it was about this girl who is a princess who is going to this boarding school in Colorado, and there's a guy there that she wants to make fall in love with her so she can break his heart because of this family curse they have between their two families. When she arrives at the boarding school, she has this beautiful ruby rose pendant, and as she gets there, all of the little petals keep falling out of her pendant, which is just terrifying for somebody like me, because if I have something expensive and it breaks, I get real upset at myself. I enjoyed how subtle all of the Beauty and the Beast aspects were. If you weren't familiar with A Tale as Old as Time, you could read this and be completely fine with it, not have to understand different aspects, that type of thing, but obviously knowing Beauty and the Beast brings a little bit more to it. Based on the ending of this book alone, I assume it's going to be a companion series from here, so I'm wondering if she's going to do different fairy tales that just take place at this academy. I don't know, I haven't looked into it. One of the shows I watched this week, we finished Scandal, and it turns out I had seen until the end of Scandal. I just blocked this out because of one of the things that happens in the last episode. It's not a bad episode, it's great. I was just really sad for one character in particular, that's all I can say. We also continued on with Parks and Rec. We're now into the 6th season, which is funny because that's when Chris Pratt was shooting Guardians of the Galaxy, so Andy has changed in physique and is also away quite a lot in London, which I didn't know about when I watched the show before, but it was pointed out to me just now. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. I also watched one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes from The Simpsons. We're actually planning to do a marathon one of these Saturdays where we sit down and watch all of them, which is about 10 hours of The Simpsons because there's like 30 episodes, they're 20 minutes each. It's gonna be a day, but I'm really excited for it. My roommates and I also watched the entirety of a very weird show, which is called Dummy. It stars Anna Kendrick, and the premise behind this show is the main character befriends the sex doll of her boyfriend. And that sex doll talks. These were all really short episodes. I felt like I was watching The Guild or something like that. It seems like a web series, and it seems like this entire first season cobbled together is really just the first episode in a show. I don't know what was going on with this show. It was just super weird. Also entertaining, also fatphobic, had a couple of other problematic comments here and there, but was just weird. Speaking of weird, we also watched the first 2 episodes of Electric Dreams. These are based on Philip K. Dick works, or that's what we're led to believe. And these episodes seem to be self-contained, so it's kind of like Black Mirror, but through the lens of Philip K. Dick. I was really entertained and enjoying these, but I was also laying down on the couch while I was watching them, so I definitely had my eyes closed a little too often and missed a couple of parts, but overall really enjoyed it. One of the movies I watched this week, we watched The Nightmare Before Christmas, because in this house it is both a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie. It's just lovely, wonderful. If you've never seen it before, I don't judge you, but also it's enjoyable, so you should. In the same night, we also watched Hocus Pocus, which is also from 1993. It was just a very strange week because the film we watched the next night, Robin Hood Men in Tights, also 1993. I had known that I had seen Robin Hood Men in Tights when I was a kid, but I literally only remembered the last line of the movie. That was the only part of the movie I really remembered. I didn't know who Mel Brooks was when I originally watched it because I was 7. And this was a lot sillier than I remembered it being, but I also enjoyed that. Even though I watched it again last week, I also this week watched Rocketman with my roommate who had never seen it before because I love this movie. It's a wonderful biopic. If you haven't seen it yet, you should. The book I listened to this week was Policing Black Lives by Robyn Maynard. This is a book about Black lives in Canada and what we've been doing to fuck them up for centuries. Canada has really wonderful PR in that we are meant to be this place of inclusivity and multiculturalism, and although there are policies that strive for that, that's not exactly how it's been. This is one of those books where I think I'm going to need to acquire my own copies so I can continuously go over it, because there are a lot of statistics that I was unaware of, and it would just be nice to know them off the top of my head, so when people are talking about how Canada is wonderful, I can be like, actually, this. Because Canada tends to get a free pass when talking about things like racism and saying, yeah, that's never existed here, or if it did, it was way back in the day, and no, racist practice persists to this day. I had been made aware of some of the details that were also in this book in They Call Me George, but this one was much more expanded in its knowledge of all of the details, such as Canada saying that people of African descent shouldn't live here because the climate won't be good for them, or only allowing people from certain countries to have visas to work here as domestics and basically be sent home as soon as their employers decided they didn't need a maid anymore. This book was also intersectional, so it talks about the crossroads of race as well as gender and disability, and it was just really well written. I highly suggest this book to anyone who is looking to do some anti-racism reading. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. That is linked down below, as well as my PayPal and my Amazon wishlist in case you would like to buy me a book. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!